Yo, what it do, chat? How's everyone doing? Welcome to another episode, a brand new episode, brand new week. It's Monday, but you guys, if you were tuned in yesterday, you guys know this is episode number 2 now. That's right. Let me just quickly start the show with a reminder here that we do have an extra episode that we do every single day of the week, which is on Sunday at 6 p.m. For those of you who missed it, just in case you missed it, you can come catch it next week, next Sunday at 6 p.m. That leaves Friday and Saturday as my weekends from streaming. But let's get started. How's everyone doing? I see people in the chat are very excited for the stream today. Dieter, TH, CDP coming in. TH thinking that the thumbnail today is Willy Wonka. No, that's actually Alex Karp, the CEO of PLTR. But that's funny. Yeah, it does look like Willy Wonka, does it not? He's got a wacky hairstyle a little bit. But you know, it takes someone to be that wacky to make such a wacky company and take it to the levels that it's going to at the moment. I mean, today's earnings report, in case you guys didn't get a sneak peek at it yet, up 17.5% in the after hours on the earnings report. AI train thought that Palantir had been left behind, but Palantir was just hanging on at the back of the AI train and is now finally inside the railway carts and joining the party along with its peers such as SMCI, Nvidia, AMD, and all other AI-based stocks overall. So shout out to Palantir today. Monster moves, but boy, as TH said it was bloodbath in the market today, right? Markets pretty red. They did recover pretty well today. Even though the markets were red, they did recover quite well. And you know, only ended up, let me quickly check over here, ended up 0.5% down, sorry, not even 0.5%, it's 0.5 cents on the QQQ. It only ended up down 0.13% on the QQQ. On the S&P 500, we ended down 0.36%. It was the IWM, the 2000 small cap stocks basically that got hurt down to 1.2% to the downside today. That market got beat down a lot more than your QQQs and the S&P 500s, basically showing you that there are still a lot of buyers here, and especially on stocks like Nvidia getting a nice upgrade today, taking it to a new all-time high, where we're getting a price target of Nvidia to $800. I think today we got into 700 maybe. Let me just quickly go check. We didn't get into 700. We did actually in the after hours. So 701, 702 over here in the after hours for Nvidia. Insane. So obviously all the edge is always taken out in the pre-market and the after hours for us, and then we have to play with these nonsense levels which don't really have any size on them at that point. The point though why I'm saying this is because today on 700 on Nvidia, on the way up, there was about I think about $9-10 million worth of size being sold at $700, but the stock never really went up there today. But over here in the after hours, we're seeing Nvidia take that out. So boring. But hey, shout out to the long-term bulls, because you guys love watching these positions move up. Prad, can you help me understand what the heck is going on with Nvidia? Yeah, we were just talking about that. And Datadog. I'm guessing Datadog, let me just quickly pull up the chart here. I know I'm not really showing you the charts right now, but you know, Datadog, a technology company, I believe it's a cloud computing company, near its all-time highs, maybe not really near its all-time highs, but just charging on. I do remember them reporting their earnings report not too long ago. Oh, maybe this was the last earnings report, November 7th, but their next earnings report is coming up on 13th of February, so we'll see what happens over there. Just looks like as the QQQs are at all-time high, this position over here just kind of using that catalyst to tag along. If I remember correctly, Datadog did have some catalyst recently to trade out of, and it did bring in a couple days of volume off of that catalyst. I can't remember exactly what that was, but Nvidia, I mean, you don't really need an answer for Nvidia just basically a monster move to the upside, upgrades after upgrades, the AI boom, the AI hype, AMD coming in and taking Nvidia to the north side, SMCI coming in and taking Nvidia to the north side, TSM coming in and taking Nvidia to the north side. Basically, at this point, any positive catalyst for the AI sector takes Nvidia to the upside because they are using Nvidia chips. Meta, Google, I don't know if Palantir uses Nvidia chips, but most likely Palantir does too. So all companies out there who are using AI, artificial intelligence, kind of training a module, requiring a lot of graphics power or requiring a lot of computation power, and most of that power is either being facilitated through them by Nvidia or AMD, and AMD and Nvidia basically get their chips made by ARM and TSM. So when all of these companies report, they are just giving extra boost and extra confidence and padding to Nvidia at the end of the day, whose earnings report has yet to come out. They haven't even reported their earnings report, and we're getting companies like, I think it was Morgan Stanley today who came out and said that they're gonna upgrade Nvidia to like what, $800, which is only $100 away from where we are now in the after hours. So not that far away if you kind of look at it. And honestly, I think Nvidia is just gonna go into $1,000, be one of that $1,000 giant that it never was. Did Nvidia ever split? I don't remember it splitting. I think I remember Amazon splitting, Google splitting, Spotify splitting. No, I was gonna say Apple, but not Apple. Tesla splitting. So Google, Amazon, Tesla, Spotify recently were the splits. Don't remember if any other big stocks split. Nvidia for sure was not a split. I mean, I remember last year Nvidia when it was at like $100-$200, and now we're at like $800. So that's a little bit of a crazy move coming in from Nvidia. MB3 saying, what's up, Prad? Yo, what up, big dog? How you doing? How was your day? How did you guys do today? Was it green? Was it red? Let me know. Nvidia just a boss at this point. 100%, bro. Gotta love Nvidia. If you're investing in any sort of chip stocks like SMCI, any sort of AI stocks, you're just in love at the moment with everything that's going on. Let me talk about the scanner. Why don't we start with that for today? Let's start with the scanner that we were talking about from yesterday, how we were very happy of building the scanner and our back testing from it, and then what happened today and how did I execute on the stocks that popped up in the scanner. Oh yeah, that was all basically. And how did my day go overall? So basically my day was slightly red, sadly, but let's talk about the scanner over here. So the scanner popped in a couple positions. Caterpillar. If you guys see me holding my neck, I have some severe neck problems right now, not sure why. So you'll see me kind of, flexing my neck back and forward. Just ignore me. Just listen to what I have to say, I guess. But Caterpillar popped up here on the scanner. Earnings play obviously popped up in the pre-market above 1% or so, and then started flushing off the open to the downside, triggering my scanner parameters. And then we pulled up the stock on my trading platform, or my charting platform. Sorry, we pulled up the stock on the charting platform, and then we started doing the classic drawing trend line things, right? Drawing a trend line. So I drew a trend line from that high to this high. The problem with trend lines is it's very very how should I put it, very subjective. It's not really objective. There is no clear definition of how one draws a trend line. My trend line is here, but you could have that trend line, right? My trend line is here, but you could have that trend line, right? Depending on what trend line you're using, you end up catching the move or not. So what happened with me clearly is I had what looks like the wrong trend line, right? So when the stock came into the watch list, we pulled it up, we looked at all the levels that were important. I saw that yesterday's VWAP was coming in right around where the stock was kind of holding its base off the open. It flushes and it keeps on bouncing on the 5-minute chart here. You know what, let's go to the 2-minute chart instead. The stock keeps on bouncing right in front of yesterday's VWAP, showing me there's a little bit of buying over here. Awesome. So after breaking out of the channel or the trend line, sorry, after breaking out of the trend line, our criteria is to wait for the stock to pull back and show us buying on the pullback, which it did, at which point I initiated my long. Right over there. Later on, I was $2 in the money. Here's where the problem comes in. Instead of proactively looking at what the stock is telling me, instead of proactively, studying the tape, instead of proactively looking at the chart, maybe, I am now on Discord, partying, shouting out the stock, shouting out, oh baby, what a killer move, I'm $2 in the money, let's fucking go. I was basically risking like barely even 50 cents. I'm $2 in the money. There's still $2 more back into VWAP. I'm partying. What I missed out was this little move into 323 area, which clearly got sold right back, right? Sold right back hard enough where it took the stock right back into the low of day. Usually what our chart patterns from our back test have shown is when a stock like this pops up and comes back, if it makes a higher low, that's better. If it makes the same low but kind of ticks the same low and pops back, that's better. If it consolidates, not really that good. But if it does consolidate and we do take the entry anyways with the risk down there, we should be a little bit more active in this area to see how the stock's trading. Is it able to get above 322? Is it able to even trade above 322? Struggling to do so should have been a trigger for me to take some profits right back. I'm pretty sure this is somewhere at the 9 EMA too. So let's go take a look at that right there. Look at that. Oh, sorry, that's not it. This is, yeah, that is it. So it pops up, rejects the 9 EMA, pops down, we get long over here, breaks out of the 9 EMA, but then rejects the 20 EMA. This is where we want to see the stock maybe, start breaking out to the north side. This is the move that you want to see it go higher and not really get rejected or make a lower low. So after it makes a lower low, getting rejected by the 20 EMA, somewhere back through the 9 EMA, I should have taken my profit. That would have still been about $1 or $2 per share, and then I could have left some to get stopped out. That was the first mistake of me managing this trade based on the trend line that I had drawn and expected to see some holding coming into play. Now, if we had what I believe should have been the right trend line, right? What I believe should have been the right trend line, which starts all the way at the open of the day. Oh, come on, what the hell? All the way at the high of the opening candle of the day, and the next few candles where the stock pops into, right? So if you had drawn that trend line over there, you see the stock actually doesn't break trend until 11:15. You get alerted to the stock much earlier. There is a trade over here that you could pull off and make some money and then quickly get stopped out on it. But later on, as you can see, the stock actually comes into the gap close into 315, yeah, exactly 315 area, pulls into the gap close, starts pulling back up. Over here, you see the merge of the 9 and the 10 EMA. On the break of this trend line over here, you get a low pullback. that pullback gets bought right back up, you could look to get long here with the stop there for a move right back up to VWAP, which is a little bit of a late entry in my opinion. But I felt like, you know, having the wrong trend line made me kind of force a trade, I guess. But even if I had the trade, which was in the money, $2, which was more than 2 risk to reward that I had going, I should have been a little bit more proactive with that trade. So that was the first mistake over here on that stock. So I could have gotten long somewhere at the break of that trend right here, after it also reclaims what was yesterday's gap close or so. And fighting for that area, fighting for that price with the stop right over here would have given me a monster move right back into 324. So we missed out that one on Caterpillar. This was our trade. Next stock is TSN, also a stock that popped up on the scanner. Let's go to TSN, also an earnings play. Stock popped up on the scanner. It's the earnings play. You see it gapping up in the pre-market 1% and then pulls all the way down over here, and this is where we get alerted. But instead of taking the trade here, I'm watching the stock. I end up taking the trade somewhere here and then another trade over here, which both of them end up being a little bit of a mistake. But once again, had we had drawn the right trend line, in my opinion, the right trend line, at the moment when I had been alerted of the stock, I had the trend line drawn something like this. I had the trend line drawn something like that. So on the break of that trend over there, I got in and then I got stopped out. Then I got in somewhere over here around yesterday's high, and then I got stopped out on that trade too. And then I just gave up on the trade. But had we had drawn the right trend line, which we're looking for the opening trend break reversal, mean reversion to VWAP type of scalp type of move, sometimes these moves could end up being a little bit more than that. But for that, you want to see the stock. What the fuck? I didn't even open this. For that, sometimes you don't want to see the stock kind of gap closing, right? If it gapped up and closed the gap, it's kind of like, okay, was the earnings really that bullish? You gapped up, yes, but you had enough selling to close the gap right back into Friday's range. So is the earnings really that bullish? The move probably could go to VWAP. Most of the time they do. You also see the stock that we were just looking at, which was Caterpillar, did end up going to VWAP beautifully. But the chances of these stocks or these trades going more than above VWAP are pretty low if they end up closing the gap. That's what I'm noticing right now. Now let's go back to TSN over here. TSN, had I had drawn the right trend line, I would have not been triggered to enter the long until here. We could have even waited for the pullback right back above that significant daily level of 56.66 area and then gotten long, and then ended up getting a beautiful risk to reward. You're risking about 42 cents and you're getting about $1.40. So basically almost 2R, 50 cents for $1.50 move coming right back to VWAP on TSN, giving you a two wave, 3 wave moves too that I see on the fly over here, depending on where you enter. So looks like were 2 mistakes over there that I had. Couple other things that I had noticed on Caterpillar was on its way down, the volume was actually increasing, which is not what we want to see, right? Showing you that there was a lot of selling and the seller was being aggressive. They didn't care about what price they were getting. They just wanted to take profits, or they just wanted to get short, and they were being very aggressive with it. So we're seeing the volume on the way down actually increasing. Not what we want to see at all, but it played out that way. I still took the long, even though I noticed that at that point to kind of see if it worked out. Ended up being my worst trade on the day, sadly. Still need to work this how do I call it? Still need to, how am I getting ads on YouTube when I pay for YouTube Premium? What the all right, still need to work out the kinks of this playbook over here. One of my managers absolutely hates this playbook. He calls it a shit playbook. It sucks to believe that there's something that over here, and sucks to believe that you found something for yourself that you could work with and do good with, and then have a shot completely down. So it's just something that I have to deal with at the moment. Maybe I just have to make it work and show it to him that it's something that is worthy as a playbook and worthy of a trade. But that's gonna require a lot of work. That's gonna require a lot of work. At the end of the day, though, I think there's something here. I mean, SMB Capital talks about it. There's other traders who, Michael Noss, for example, saw the setup and really liked the setups. And the fact that Michael Noss liked it made me like it even more. So I'm very excited to actually see if we can work something out over here. And honestly, there's hindsight's 2020, right? In hindsight, I see that this trade clearly worked out for me. Clearly worked out for me. It's just in that moment when we were taking the trade, we just didn't have the wherewithal to kind of, at that moment I knew that I wanted to draw the trend line from here, but I still didn't. So that was a problem. Maybe we could have drawn another trend line this way, and you could have seen how that was the first trend. This was the second trend, right? Kind of, oh, sorry, that's not what I want to do right there. This was the second trend maybe, or even somewhere down over here. This is the second trend, and on the break of this smaller trend and the third trend, somewhere in this little pocket is somewhere you could have gotten along with the risk of low a day, somewhere near 317, 318 or so, risk at 315, and your reward all the way, $6 reward for a $2 risk. I like that. But Caterpillar was a little bit of an expensive stock, I guess, to try something because it was a little bit whipsawy. The spread was nasty. If it was breaking a level to the downside, it would kind of whip around and stop hunt. And because of its price value and because of its spread, it could whipsaw a little bit more. So maybe that was kind of something to take in play for this. Tomorrow, I'll be interested to see what type of stocks pop up in the scanner. Maybe you can take the trade when it breaks the 9 EMA instead of the trend line. But for that, if you're, I mean, yeah, you could do that if it breaks the 9 EMA instead of the trend line, which is kind of the trend line too, if you think about it, right? This is the second trend line. That's exactly where the 9 EMA breaks. This is the major trend line that we were talking about right there, which is also where kind of the 9 EMA breaks, right? So, I mean, you could take the 9 EMA break, but then this is like almost a one and done trade. So in this, you kind of want to see the stock not breaking 9. Like, you don't enter on the break of 9 because sometimes it might just false break 9, right? It might just false break 9 and then pull back under 9. What I think you want to see is breaking 9 EMA and then actually holding 9 EMA on the move back up over here, at which point you can bid probably at the 9 EMA on this candle or even on one of these candles over here, right? You get filled at 319 or somewhere at 318.50, and then your risk is the low a day over here. So you can try to do that, because I feel like sometimes, like right over here, you might just get triggered on the break of that 9 EMA, even though it didn't really break 9 EMA. I feel like sometimes it might do that. Or you could maybe start a position, like you said, half when it breaks, instead of half, I would say maybe quarter on the break, and then more on the when it pulls back and holds the 9 EMA, or more when it pulls back and holds a higher low after breaking the trend line. So the idea behind that is you want buying to show up after you've kind of made the decision to enter, right? I entered over here, buying still hasn't shown up. Buying sadly showed up later. So the idea is after you enter, you want buying to still show up. And the only way we know buying shows up is on the pullbacks. You got to see the buying be active. Let's say you got in long over here and you see this selling come in. You want to take some profits over here, right? You want to take some profits over here and then be ready to punch more out aggressively if it flushes right back to the downside, because it could easily kind of triple top over here, even though it's not a really double top. It could kind of triple top over here and then start flushing right back down. Very easily could do that. That seller could have sold more, and it looks like he did, but then the buyer really came back right back to the upside. So Caterpillar, those were the two trades that I had on my scan, and that's how I traded TSN today. Ooh, let me quickly show you how I traded TSN. Quick little long there, quick little long here, gave up. Literally a couple minutes later, I could have gotten the long right there after the real trend line breaks, right? It breaks, pulls back, shows a higher low, and then you could look for that move up. So need to learn to be a lot more patient for that, for those moves. Need to learn to be a lot more disciplined on the entry. Like for this example, right? I had the shitty trend line. I had a shitty trend line. And I paid the price for it. But if I had the right trend line, you see that the stock pulls back to exactly near yesterday's high, a little bit under yesterday's high, maybe even into yesterday's close. So 56.36 was yesterday's close, and you can see how today's low was 56.32. So basically, gap closes picture perfectly to the downside, then starts popping up. I try a long at yesterday's high, which looks like it kind of works, but didn't really work. The dislocation from the 9 EMA was a little too far too. I guess what you really want to see is when it breaks the trend line, it's also curling the EMAs, right? This gives you a confidence. See, because when it breaks the trend line over here, it didn't really curl the EMA, but the EMA starts curling in this area, in this pocket, because it pulls back and it creates a higher low. Had it just gone up here, rejected the 9 EMA, and then continued to go straight to the downside, you would have not seen the curl of the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA take place. But because it broke up, pulled back, and consolidated in this area for the right amount of time that it needed to, you're seeing that curling action take place. You're seeing this buying also help that curl take place, obviously a lagging indicator, right? So you're watching that curl take place coming in, and this entry probably you're getting somewhere over here on this 3 candles. If you're entering on that big candle right there, you're missing out on a lot of the move. You want to enter somewhere in this area right after the down move comes in and the pop comes in, right? Breakout, pullback, the pullback gets bought right back up. That's what you want to look for. So move 1, let me draw it out on paint. Move 1. Move 2 is the breakout of the trend line. Move 3 is the pullback after breaking the trend line and then creating a support. And then move 4 is the move we're looking for. So this is move 1. This is move 2. This is move 3. So you want to wait until the 3 moves happen until you enter somewhere over here on that. Until you enter somewhere. Oh, what the hell? Somewhere over there with the stop, either here and then you're looking for like a soft stop over there, kind of depending on what the range is between this area, whatever that range is between. If this range is too far between those two, then you can kind of use this as a hard stop. But if the range is not that far between those two, you're kind of using this area as a soft stop and this area as a hard stop. So once again, you're looking for that first initial flush down on which the stock gets alerted, right? This is where the stock gets alerted. After it gets alerted, you draw your trend lines and you wait for the trend lines to break. After the trend line breaks, that's your move 2. You don't enter on the move 2 unless, I don't know, you're FOMOing, then go for it, right? You don't enter on the move 2. A lot of times, a stock could only have a move 1 and a move 2 and it just goes. This is a V-shaped recovery where the Lance's V-shaped recovery comes into play. Sometimes you miss out on them, whatever. If you want, maybe take a quarter of your position that you want to take on the break of the trend line, right? But be ready to punch out if it's pulling right back to the downside. But this is where you're keeping your eyes peeled. You're keeping your eyes peeled for the move 2 and then the move 3. Which is break at the trend line and then pull back, either all the way back into the same low or pulling back and creating a new high low, creating a higher low. Then after doing that, on the move 4, you could, wait for it one candle to finish and then maybe enter on the second candle or so, still be able to catch it below that high and catch the move that you're looking for towards VWAP. Or sometimes the stock will do much more than VWAP depending on how bullish the buying is and so on. Before that, you don't really want to see the stock closing the gap. You don't really want to see the stock closing the gap, right? That's the idea over there. We're gonna keep flexing that strategy. We're gonna keep trying the strategy. We're gonna keep tampering with it, keep working with it until we figure out all the nuances, all the little variations that seem like are making it not work. For example, look over here. When the stock first gets alerted, its distance from VWAP according to ATR was only 76%. But when it gets alerted on its last alert, 148% away from VWAP. At which point you actually get a monster bounce to get long off of. That's also where yesterday's VWAP was, right? Yesterday's VWAP was right over here. You could have noticed the consolidation above yesterday's VWAP, gotten long, and then quickly gotten out, still made some money. Just don't be an idiot like me going on Discord and partying about how much money you're gonna make on the stock and actually take some profits. Here, let me show you. Let me show you what that looks like. Let's go! And then literally 3-4 minutes later, the greed's real. Yep. So that's that for this, and that's that for that. Look at this one, 100% away from ATR, and then when we actually take the trade, it was what, 200% away from its away from VWAP based on how much the stock moves on an ATR basis. The stock's ATR is only like $1 if I remember correctly. That doesn't show up. Oh, I do need to do this. Nah, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to do anything. So we'll just close the scanner for today. Close the scanner, bang bang, skeet skeet, and we'll head over to the next part of the stream. I'm not sure if anyone's still here with me. The chat just died off all of a sudden on me. Let me know if you guys are still here or not. The next part of this stream over here, which is taking a look at the stocks on the watch list for tomorrow, starting with Palantir. That's honestly the only name I care about. I did add Chegg on there for the watch list, just to add an extra stock on the watch list. Why not make my life a little bit harder? But no real other stocks on here that excite me too much. Tomorrow pre-market, we got Eli Lilly, Spotify, Hertz. Those are the 3 companies that I care about the most. I'm watching on a TV screen, says TH. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I'm still live or people are still here, because I got lonely for a second. I got lonely, fellas. Talk to me, say hello. But yeah, Eli Lilly, Spotify, and Hertz are the only 3 companies that I care about for tomorrow's pre-market. Eli Lilly's conference call tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Hertz's conference calls at 8:30 a.m. and Spotify's conference calls at 8 a.m. Spotify, I think, is going to be a lot of fun because it's at a pretty good level, so we're going to talk about that very soon. But let's start off with the stock that reported earnings today after hours, and that is Palantir, the monster Palantir, the big boss Palantir, Alex Karp, boosting the stock up to almost another 17.5%, basically taking it to what, $20 again? Yeah, basically taking it to $20, where the stock has previously struggled into, where we've seen a lot of selling show up right into 20, right into 21, $22 and so on. So we'll see what happens on the chart just in about a second. But let's talk about the earnings report. So Palantir reported fourth quarter financial results after the market closed on Monday. What is this? Revenue increased 20% year over year to 608 million, which beat consensus, which beat estimates of 602. So monster beat. Commercial revenue grew 32% year over year, driven by 70% year over year increases in U.S. commercial revenue. Wow, monster. Government revenue grew 11% year over year. So those people who make fun of Palantir saying they only make money because of government contracts, they're only alive because of government contracts. You can't say that anymore because their commercial revenue is now growing too, and it's growing 70% year over year, kind of showing that it's just on its forefront. When you're seeing numbers like 70%, that's a little crazy. That means they're still growing, there's still room to grow. Once you see the numbers kind of drop down to 30, 20, 15%, then you're kind of like seeing the stabilization come in. So clearly a lot of room to grow over here on Palantir, in my opinion. If they're just getting started on the commercial side. Palantir reported quarterly adjusted earnings of 8 cents per share, which is in line with analyst estimates. So EPS not really beating too much on EPS. Yeah, very slight beat on EPS. Revenue was a good beat though overall. Palantir customer count grew 35% year over year. Nice little beat on the customer count. US commercial count increased by 55% year over year to 221 customers. That's it. Okay. Palantir ended the quarter with cash equivalents of 3.7 billion. Palantir expects first quarter revenue to be between 612 to 616 million versus estimates of 617, a little short of the estimates. Yikes. First quarter adjusted operating income between 196 and 200 million. Full year 2024 to be expected between this and this. Income to be between this and that. The company is guiding income of 2024. Management will hold conference call at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Basically, Palantir up 15.2%, a little bit more than that, about 17%. It says 1921 at the time of the publication of this report. We are seeing the stock at, you guys ready? Drum roll. $20.04 is the high of this move over here for Palantir. So shout out to my friend Palantir, who I've been bitching and moaning about for a long time, about how I hate the stock not doing what I wanted to do and why I got out of it from my long-term account. Now it's doing what I wanted to do. Of course, fucking course, right? This always happens. However, I should not be angry. I should be very happy because it's at least doing something I wanted to do, although it's doing it much later. I recently nuked all of my lines on every single chart because I got annoyed by some of the old archaic systems that I used to do. So we're gonna just nuke all those lines, and then we're gonna start using some of the new systems that I have over here for our charting purposes and support purposes. Now, we clearly know that the stock has popped up on the earnings move, so I don't really think I need to draw too many levels to the downside. I only need to prepare to the upside. Let's go from the yearly chart, which shows me a solid resistance area at $20 and what is that, 24 cents, and then another resistance area at $21.85. From here we go to the 60-minute chart, turn off extended trading hours because I only want to see on regular trading hours. Over here you see that little peak over there, which could possibly act as support on any pullback, or that little peak over there, which could act as support on any sort of pullback. So I'm gonna mark up those areas for myself. Recent high, although the stock is basically in these areas at the moment. You can see how that daily pinpoint that we put in recently also shows up a solid resistance triple top on the 60-minute chart, right? The 60-minute chart. So we don't need to remap this one, and we already have that one mapped out. Now, in my opinion, I have all the levels of interest for myself on Palantir. We have yesterday's high, basically today's high, today's low, and some of the levels where the stock might pop into in the pre-market and the regular trading hours. Now let's turn on the extended trading hours and see if these levels got respected at all in the after hours off the earnings report. So you see how the stock, the initial wave when the report comes in, just blasts into that previous level. You see a little bit of selling coming in, but then more buying, blast through that level, and kind of almost got through to the next level over here of $20.24. That will be important. Do we get past that 2024 area? As a lot of these semiconductor stocks, not semiconductor, sorry, a lot of these, I guess, yeah, semiconductors, but a lot of these AI stocks, especially SMCI, have been doing, Nvidia have been doing, they've been breaking out and just blasting off to the north side, not caring about what their ATR is and bringing in immense volume. I will not be surprised if Palantir brings in 200 million, 300 million worth of share tomorrow. I will not be surprised. The stock has an ATR of what, 50 cents? Let me go quickly verify in my notes. Palantir now has an ATR of 73 cents. Okay, usually it's 50 cents, 43 cents, 44 cents, 50 cents. Now it's 73 cents. I will not be surprised if the stock does a $2 move tomorrow, right? So let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to have some fun on Palantir over here. Some of my areas of interest, clearly, as you guys can see, as we pointed out. I'm just gonna quickly map some of this out on my notes, because I do have to email these out to my viewers who support me on Patreon. So I'm just gonna put in some of these levels over here, and then 1915, 1835, and then yesterday's high of basically 1787 area. I'm gonna put yesterday's high beside that number. Resistance is clearly that 2024, and then above 2024 is that 2185, which I will not be surprised if we see that price coming into play, at which point we can make some decisions as to see what to do. Somebody made a killing on Palantir calls on that price spike. Shout out to that lady, that guy, that girl, that man, that woman, whoever you are. Shout out to you, because it wasn't me. I hate my life. No, I don't. I love my life. Maybe that's a lie. That's a lie. I don't hate my life. I don't love my life either. I'm somewhere in the middle at the moment. Somewhere in the middle with everything. But Palantir, man, if you're Alex Karp, you're loving life, absolutely loving it. What a beautiful move to the north side. Just can't stop talking about it. And I like these new white dotted lines that I have. The previous green lines were like I don't know, pretty hard to kind of see in my opinion, and we had way too many of them, so that got pretty goddamn annoying pretty fucking quickly. But Palantir over here, we're pretty happy to see a cleaner chart for myself for tomorrow to trade off of. Let's go with the next one, ladies and gentlemen. Chegg with the earnings report going to the downside. Looks like EPS was a flat line, basically met EPS, reported 0.364, and they reported estimated, and they reported 0.36. Revenue coming in line too, but overall a little bit moved to the downside. Let's start off with the all-time chart. See where the stock is based on all-time. The all-time low is $3.15. The stock is at $9. The market's basically at all-time highs. It's a little uninteresting to trade stocks near their all-time lows, and that actually takes me to the point over here that MB3 wants me to talk about Peloton. Peloton is moving around at the moment. There are some trades. I was looking at Peloton today, but the only trade I was looking for on Peloton was to get short under $4, and because Peloton already had traded its one ATR, I didn't really get interested for that trade at all. Maybe if Peloton can break $4 cleanly tomorrow, there is a possible short on the break of $4, but then again, like I was just about to say, this is near all-time lows. The market's at near all-time highs. Trading stocks near all-time lows are kind of just maybe not worth it, because you're not going to get that extra oomph, that extra momentum maybe to the downside. People are bag holding at the moment because the markets are breaking out. Markets are breaking out. And I'm only saying this because I've seen it take place when I'm shorting stocks near all-time lows, and they're not really moving. And my manager kind of told me this point that, like, hey, Prad, shorting stocks at all-time lows, you know, whatever, but the market's really at all-time highs. It doesn't really make sense to kind of look for those trades, so maybe stop looking for them. So I just kind of moved on from that idea. So Peloton is over there. CAGG basically near all-time lows, not really at all-time lows. All-time lows at $3.15, but we're looking like we're heading towards that direction at the moment. Not really too interested to short this stock at the time being either. There are some levels that you could see some bounces coming in, maybe 890 over there. The earnings report is positive, so the stock could easily just reverse the whole move tomorrow and kind of just charge back up north. So watch out for that one. There are some areas over here that I'm just going to quickly map out. As you guys can see, bang, 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 bang. This is the 52-week areas on Chegg. Let me kind of zoom up for that and talk about this real quick. So that day's low, very low volume, not a lot of volume took place on that day, but the candle was monstrous, right? So we'll be interested to see if the buyers on this day will come in to support that low, or also the low right under that a little bit, which comes in around this area, right? That maybe we do this. No, get away from me. So you're looking to see if buyers will come back into these ranges all the way from 850 to 9 basically. In my opinion, maybe you don't even want to make a decision at 880. You might want to just wait to see what happens into this area of 850 to 870 to make a decision. If that area breaks, then you can wait at 8. If that area breaks, you can wait at 7 and then kind of make decisions, or you can just take the breakouts of these moves if you're interested in breakouts. I just don't think I'll be that interested in CAGG tomorrow. Palantir looks like a monster trade, and we'll be interested to see how that one sets up. So CAGG, we'll just leave it on the watch list, but I'm just not interested for the trade. In case it does bring in some volume, reverses the move that it had over here in the pre-market, basically after hours. We drop down. Pre-market, I'm expecting the stock to reclaim yesterday's high and get above yesterday's high. At that point, maybe you could look for a long. Until then, the stock is kind of just nothing burger for me. The report wasn't even that much of a beat, right? It was inline report, so nothing to maybe even do on the stock. Next stop, LLY, Eli Lilly. This one is a $700 position, so most likely a lot of you are not trading it. Most likely me, I'm not trading it, but it is near all-time highs, and you're watching a lot of these stocks near all-time highs break out their all-time highs and give you a monster move to the north side past that level, and then kind of pull back after that. So you could look for the long past the all-time high, which is basically today's high, and then you could look for a pullback below today's high to possibly look for a short if you're interested in that, depending on what the earnings report is. Like we just mentioned, the stock has this earnings call at 10 a.m. tomorrow, so maybe we'll just have to be a little patient to see how the pre-market move sets up before we even do anything. The stock's ATR is $15.50. So if you have the buying power, if you have the risk capacity to trade it, then maybe there will be some opportunities over here, but most likely none of us are even going to be watching this stock. So we'll move on from this one to the next stock on board, which is Spotify. Spotify not really at all-time high. Spotify did split recently, for those of you who also remember. Let me see if I can find the split date. Oh, was it not Spotify that split? Was it Shopify? It was Shopify. Spotify didn't split, I forgot. Yay, green in the long-term account on Palantir was holding at 1878. Let's go, Dieter. Okay. Okay, Spotify at its... I was thinking about Shopify, man. Okay, Spotify, whatever. I basically spend, what, $14 a month to listen to Joe Rogan on Spotify. They're reporting their earnings report pre-market. Their earnings call is at 8 a.m. This is basically a dual listed stock. They are listed in other markets too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, in Oslo. Vienna. Yeah, that's Vienna. That's Vienna. That's Milan. Argentina. Well, I'm so stupid. That's the Argentina flag. I'm so stupid. Argentina. That's Argentina too. Are they listed anywhere else? There we go. That's the Milan market. Oh, that's a Mexican market. You're listed in Mexico too? Yeah, that's a Mexico flag. That's the Milan market. There we go. But that's not Spotify. Oh, it is Spotify technology. Leverage 5 times. Leverage long, leverage short 5 times. Holy shit. That's insane. And then it just goes to spot market. Okay, yeah, so it is obviously a dual listed stock. It's not an American company. It's a Finnish, Dutch, German. Where is Spotify from? Swedish. Stockholm, Sweden. Okay, basically got it completely wrong. Named 3 countries and they're neither of it. Spotify, a Swedish company, dual listed, so they might report their earnings at a different time. I don't know if that one works differently, but their earnings call is at 8 a.m. in the morning apparently, so you could tune into that one if you're interested. It is at a 52-week high, beautiful levels over here. Didn't really want to put too many lines in the same area, but that high right there at 223.80, let's just say 224, right? We're interested to see what happens at 224. It says the high is 224.45. Where do you see that, mate? Oh, right, 224.45. Okay, then yeah, just put that 224.45. That's this high right here. That high is 224.45, which is basically yesterday's high. Today's high is basically 224, 50 cents short of that. And then based on the earnings report, you could watch the stock blast off to the north side into new territories, at which point we have to look for new levels and then remap it. I'm not really going to put 225 as a level right now in my notes because I'm going to have to revamp this in pre-market. But really quickly, I'm just going to put some lines that I might be interested in for the stock. So I'm interested in that range from 182 to 185 in case earnings go bad, earnings go sour, and if earnings go bullish, then I'm interested to see what happens on the pops into the north side ranges of 250. You're telling me 250 is coming into play? Sheesh. Zoom out a bit. Oh, I can't even zoom out more than that. That sucks. Yeah, it sucks. All right, we have some levels over here of interest to the downside. It's actually pretty interesting how Spotify has traded in these ranges. You see how it consolidated, broke down into the previous double top, which was supposed to be resistance, but ended up turning into support, channeled all the way up over here to the north side. So this area that we just kind of pinpointed, that purple area, supposed to be a pretty strong support in case the earnings go south. Right, supposed to be a pretty strong support. If I remember, Spotify did increase their rates, and they're also allowing people to buy audiobooks and whatnot on their platform, if I remember correctly. I forget if I've seen any audiobooks on Spotify. I haven't really, but then, you know, I have Audible for that, so maybe that's why I haven't really like gone out of my way to look for it. But I like these ranges, right? You're seeing these ranges get respected and show you buyers, show you sellers. So I'll be interested to see where the support comes in. If we are back all the way into this purple range, then I'm only looking long because Spotify's ATR is $5.44, and that drop down there will be about a $30 drop. That earnings report has to be really bad to go down over here. On the 1 hour chart, the 100 period EMA is at $213. That's basically in this range. So expecting anything more than 210 would be kind of crazy in my opinion on the earnings move. So watch out for the earnings move to play out. Currently we have some levels mapped out, but besides this, I don't really have any clear plan on Spotify until pre-market. Next stock, same realm, Hertz, HTZ. No real clear plan until what happens in pre-market, but as you guys can see, this amazing bottom showing up over here on the stock, somewhere around, what is that? $8.20. The all-time low is not all-time low, but the 52-week low basically at $8.11. What's the all-time low? 40 cents. Jesus. Okay. The 52 week low coming in at $8.20 or $8.10, whatever you want to call it. We'll be interested to see if this area can come into play tomorrow on the earnings report and show you support, at which point we're possibly only going right back into $9 and struggling at 9 with the HTZ's ATR at only 50 cents, maybe not even back into 9. But if the stock has a good earnings report and actually breaks out of this $9 barrier that we've been for the last few days, it's been there for from 19th of January till now. So if we kind of break out of this $9 area, there is a little bit of a resistance right into this box high right over here. Maybe we can put that line right there into this box high, right into that 933. Is that 933? Right into the 933 area, at which point you could look for some shorts. But then a breakout above 9 and showing buying above 9 will most likely take the stock through 933 into the next area of resistance around $10. So we'll be interested to see what happens. HTZ recently also sold a lot of its fleet. I believe it's the Teslas that they bought and then they sold it all right away, and that kind of hurt them. So that sucks for HTZ. We'll be interested to see what type of earnings report these guys come out with, and they have their earnings call at 8:30 pre-market. Caterpillar already reported monster move to the north side, all-time high, right? All-time high coming in, monster move. So now the interesting trades that I'll be looking for will be some sort of a day 2 trade, some type of holding of today's low, or holding of the earnings VWAP. If the stock can get above earnings VWAP and start showing me some buying above earnings VWAP, that'll be an interesting spot to get long for me. Pulling back into this 315 area and showing buying again into 315 will be interesting for a move back into 322, 323 or so. That will be something that I'll be watching for. Basically looking for any type of day two setup on Caterpillar, on McDonald's, on ON, which is another semiconductor stock. Sadly, McDonald's, even on a good earnings report, got beat down quite a bit today. ONEL, Caterpillar got flushed too, and TSN got flushed too, but ON and EL actually held a good portion of its ranges today. So watch out for these ones. Oh, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, only 4 candles, but it didn't make a new low. It didn't really make a new low off the open. It basically held the opening range 5-minute low. That's another setup that I want to try. When the stock gaps up, pulls back into the opening range 5-minute low or the opening range 5-minute high, and then you either take the breakout of this if it's weak enough, or you take the long off of this if it's strong enough. You're basically looking for the opening range breakout or the stock to be stuck in the opening range 5-minute, depending on how volatile the 5-minute is for the stock. And ON, whose ATR is $2.86, the high is 78.24 and the low is 77.38, basically trading almost one full goddamn ATR in the 5-minute range itself. But this is not the opening 5-minute range. This is kind of more the opening 10-minute range. I guess that would be the opening 5-minute range right there. You get the idea. Anyways, moving forward. ON looking for day 2 plays, same like Caterpillar, same like MCD. I believe ON looks a little bit more bullish for a bullish trade if the stock continues to show me buying right into this earnings anchored VWAP around $77. Possible move right into today's high, and then a breakout of today's high for an even bigger move for maybe 79. I thought I had a line at 79. Oh yeah, I nuked all my lines. I forgot. I nuked all my lines. So looking for a move somewhere into a higher end of these ranges over here on ON into $86, but that might take some time. So let's see what happens tomorrow on this breakout of today's high, if it even happens. Right there, yeah, I had a line at 79, and that was basically today's high. Look at that. Surprise, surprise. Supplies. Yeah, so 79 breakout. Will be interesting to see if we can take that right into 80s and 82s and so on. But or a pullback into 77. Let me put some notes down over here for this stock. Support should be 77. If it's under 77, I don't want it. But we can wait at 74.50, 75.50. I mean, we can wait at 75.50 to see what happens. 77, 75, 50. Resistance will be 79. Hello? Resistance will be 79. And then we'll wait and see what happens in 79 for the stock. Oh, and I will put this one on importance blue for myself. EL, also a stock that gapped up in pre-market and actually was, I guess, not as bullish as I thought it was. This one looked a lot more bullish to me than it actually ended up being. But yeah, it looks like it pretty much held the opening range low. Not even the opening range low, just the day's low, which was around $150. Nice support showing up at 150. Nice base showing up at 150. So tomorrow, if for any reason the stock is opening up and still showing buying into 150, there could be a move into anchor VWAP of the earnings, which is around 152, and then even a bigger move above 152. EL, however, is not near all-time highs. It is it has been beat down quite a bit on the daily chart, as you guys can see right over here. It's been beat down quite a bit and finally breaking out of this little resistance high on the earnings report, and it's actually holding that resistance high as support. So even more of a reason to look for that long on the support of EL. So EL 150, if it can hold, I am very, very interested to see if it can get long, but be careful to see what happens into the earnings anchored VWAP of 152 over here. That could act as a wall, and if that 152 area gets blasted through, we could get a move into 155, and then anything above 155 is just bonus. And the reason I say 155 is that high right there for like a good 30 minutes after the open, right? So 155 could act as a wall. 150 support, mamma mia, kiss your fingers, get long, have fun. Get long, have fun. Notes, bias, bullish if stock can hold 150. Notes, get, I guess my bias is good enough. My bias is good enough. I don't need to do anything. I know what I want to do. I know what to do. Last but not least, the Magnificent Seven on the watch list. So basically, we're done with the whole earnings board. Palantir, Chegg, Eli Lilly, Spotify, Hertz, Caterpillar, McDonald's, ON, EL are the ones from the recent earnings board, but we still have the Magnificent Seven who recently reported earnings. Apple, AMD, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Google, Netflix, and Tesla. All of them reported earnings, but one, Nvidia, who is not sadly this week. You know, I almost got you a little excited there. Nvidia is not this week. I think Nvidia is next week. Actually, we can go check right here. What day is Nvidia, big boss? Nvidia is on the 21st of February. So not even next week, 2 weeks. Whatever, 2 weeks. But we do have other semiconductors coming up, especially ARM. ARM is a big name. ARM should be at its all-time highs at the moment. Not necessarily, but it's around there, right? You know, I think one of my uncles, when I went to America recently, he told me that he bought ARM at 40.50, so shout out to him. He's having fun with the ARM move to the north side. ARM reporting, so that should be another stock to keep an eye out for to see if Nvidia blasts off again. Spotify doesn't let you buy audiobooks through the in-app purchases. This is because these transactions would require to pay commissions to Apple and Google. Is that what happened? Then where did I see that Spotify is doing some audiobooks or something? I forget where it was. Maybe it wasn't Spotify. Maybe it was something else. I forget. Guys, I quit vaping and I haven't vaped all show. Did you notice that? I quit vaping and I need to vape so bad. But you know what we did start? We started. Hold up. Quit vaping, but we started pillowcasing. A nice little upper decky. All right, we got a nice little upper decky going. They do have free audiobooks through premium account. Oh, okay. I forgot you could use Spotify free. I completely forgot. Yeah, they do let you use this for free. Okay, so talking about the large cap over here, stocks like Apple, AMD, Nvidia on the watch list. I mean, most of these stocks have some amazing levels to keep an eye out for. The all-time high for Apple, pretty damn close. It's been struggling around this area ever since this earnings report. Specifically, you can see the support coming in right around that 180. Apple struggling to get below 180. A little bit of consolidation here before we broke out and made a new all-time high, but then kind of stuffed right back down. So watch out for that area. Possible selling into this area over here of 190 or so. Quickly, let's go to the 60-minute time period and then see what that one looks like. Yeah, look at that. Nice little triple bottom coming in. Good consolidation over here on Apple. Breaking out of this consolidation over here. A little bit of a pullback after breaking out of that consolidation. Let's see if support can come up on the high of this area, somewhere into this 187. If 187 area could show some buying, maybe we take out 189 and start pushing higher. Right? Apple 187. AMD, what do you look like? AMD holding off in this little box right now. That's basically today's trading, 5th February. This is 31st January. Nice little consolidation over here. We basically held that low. So I'm going to mark that one off. That's a high right there. Is that the all-time high? Most likely. Little consolidation over here. But I'm more interested in this area. I guess we could throw one down there. That's today's low. That's right. And that's the earnings anchored VWAP. Notice how we basically bounced off of the earnings anchored VWAP. Just ticked it. Tickled the earnings anchored VWAP and bounced off of that. Monsters. Monsters. Imagine you caught that long. This is the open. Sell off, sell off, sell off, sell off. Down, 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 down. All the way into. Is this earnings day? Not earnings day. This is earnings day. The second day after earnings. I guess this is earnings day. Yeah, earnings day. Right into earnings day high. Right into earnings day high. AMD found support. Also right off of the earnings anchored VWAP. Found support. Bounce. Monster line. Imagine you caught that. I want to do something this, by the way. Oh, that's right. If I do this. Didn't really cross it though, did it? It just kind of ticked it. Can I do... crossing up, crossing down, greater than, less than, moving up, moving down, moving up percent, moving down percent. These are the only conditions. I guess it's greater than like 10-20 cents. I can't do that. Can't set a certain greater than price. I'm gonna have to play with that and figure out. But sadly, I can only sell like 5 alerts. I can only sell like 5 alerts on this one because my premium account is only like on the basic tier for TradingView. I use Trade Ideas for alerts more, so maybe I need to Learn how to set up alerts off of Anchor View Ops on Trade Ideas. Can we do that? Let's try to figure that one out right now, actually. Let's try to figure that one out. In the meantime, let me just quickly talk about the overall market and then kind of wrap it up over there for the market. QQQ, pretty much near all-time highs, right? The market's holding off pretty well. No real sellers at the moment, even though the market was pretty weak to start off the day today. Tomorrow's economic calendar not looking very, very hot at all. We do have Fed member Mester coming up. Oh my God, I'm getting a little dizzy. Whew. Whew. We do have Fed member Mester coming up at 12 o'clock tomorrow. 3-year auction note at 1 o'clock. That's a little important. Maybe 3 years not that important, but 3 years should be a little important. 2-star, obviously. Fed member Mester, 2-star event. Those are the only time periods I think that the market could move around a little bit. Tomorrow looking pretty bleak, pretty dead. Is bleak the right word? Tomorrow's economic calendar looking pretty dead, sadly. So nothing over there for us to talk about. But the IPO calendar, wait, is tomorrow 7th? No, tomorrow's the 6th. So nothing tomorrow for the IPO calendar either. But the 7th of February, there's a little bit of a nice trade showing up for us. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that one. But let's go see if we can play with. Maybe I'll just play with this on my own. I won't waste your guys' time. Yeah, that's basically all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Do you have anything that you want me to take a look at? Any specific stocks you want me to take a look at? Feel free to put it in the chat over there. I see someone put Peloton earlier. Let me scroll through the chat, see if somebody else put anything. Alex putting the rock on symbol. What's up, Alex? How you doing, brother? Sal G coming in the chat. What's up, Sal Goodman? Sal Goodman? What's the G for? I would love to know. This G is for gangster. I basically have nothing else to talk about. I guess that's where we kind of wrap it up for the night. And I go play with my dog for a little bit. And I go eat my dinner. And figure out what I want to do for tomorrow. And what I mean by that is if I am going into work tomorrow or not. So I'm going to figure that part out. Either way, I will be active on Discord if I do or not go to work in tomorrow. So if I don't go to work tomorrow, I will be active on Discord with the market and so on. I might even hop into the voice call. So feel free to join our Discord server. It's absolutely free. The all the links to my social media are down below in the description. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, all that fun stuff. Feel free to subscribe to me on Patreon, where you get my watch list with all my notes sent out to you in pre-market. Feel free to also support me on YouTube by becoming a YouTube member, and also think about hitting that like and subscribe if you think I deserve it, because it helps me with that YouTube algorithm and all that fun stuff. Last but not least, thank you to my affiliate sponsors, Trade Ideas, Trader Sync, Benzinga. You guys help me find the best trades, keep me up to date on all the latest news, and also help me track my statistics and know exactly where I'm winning and exactly where I'm losing. So shout out to all 3 of those companies over there who help me with that aspect. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you tomorrow 8 o'clock on stream, and then I'll see you throughout the day on Discord. So take care, have a great night, have an even better trading day, and stay green. Ciao, good night. Fade to black.
We're not like other carbon-based life forms. You put the value of all life above your own.
It's how things should be. It's how they could be.
I could not agree more. The worlds can be one together. Cosmos without hatred. Stars like diamonds in your eyes. The ground can be space, 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 space. With feet marching towards a peaceful sky. All the moon men want things their way, but we make sure they see the sun. Goodbye, moon man. You say goodbye, moon man. Goodbye, moon man. Goodbye. Cosmos without hatred, diamond stars of cosmic light, quasars shine through endless night, and everything is one in the beauty. And now we say goodbye, moon man. You say goodbye.